Hi everyone, Donna here with Bookkeeping Made Simple, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about multiple streams of income. And the reason I'm talking about that is I talk to a lot of younger entrepreneurs, especially that are trying to start multiple streams of income all at once. So now I'm going to tell you how to do it and to do it successfully. Before we get started, if you enjoy these videos, if I've said anything that you think is valuable, if you just thought it was entertaining, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you subscribe on YouTube. You know the drill. And with that, we will get started. So if you watch all the influencers, you'll notice that there's a very common theme, which I actually do agree with, which is how important it is to have multiple streams of income. Basically, what they're saying is you don't ever want to have all of your eggs in one basket. So if you have a W-2 job, and there's nothing wrong with that, if you have a W-2 job and you lose your job, you do not have an income now. So they are taking this idea and adding it to other enterprises, basically saying if you have a business with one customer and you lose your customer, you have no income. It's one of the reasons I like the way our business is set up, because I do have this, an affordable monthly fee for our clients. And that means that for us, if we lose a client for whatever reason, then it's not catastrophic. It doesn't end our business. We've seen this over and over again. I mean, even going all the way back to the early days of the automobile, several of the early companies, particularly with heavy equipment, Caterpillar comes to mind, began to be developed before the Second World War. Then their number one customer was the government during the war. Well, after the war, when the government cut spending, then they had no customers. They had not developed the direct-to-consumer market. And that Caterpillar had to be bought out by somebody else. And you can fact check this. I may have the facts wrong, the name of the company wrong, but the fact is the same. So what we want to do is we want to make sure as we're growing our businesses, one, pick one business at a time. Okay, so if you're 20 years old and you're starting your first business, and I do, if you are entrepreneurial minded, understand it's a lot harder than you think it is, but it's very, very rewarding. So you start with one business, just one. What is one thing you can offer to other people that they're willing to pay for? And you build that. Okay. Don't worry about anything else but building that. Make sure you're marketing it to a wide variety of demographics. So as a bookkeeping company, as an accountant, I'm marketing to everybody who's 18 to 65, sometimes even up. And I'm specifying a niche market, which means I'm going for very small business owners. Well, it makes them sound like they're just very small people, just like midgets or something. I'm going after owners of small businesses. Uh, English is fun. I'm going after owners of small businesses in multiple industries. So it's not like I'm just picking out trucking companies, although that's a really good niche to be in. We do work with trucking companies and I market to them, but really I'm marketing to service-oriented owners of service-oriented businesses with 100 or few clients. So I've sat down and I've come up with my ideal client. And the other thing is they have to be coachable, they have to be communicative, they have to be, there's some things that they have to do for us to continue with them as a client. Then I started off just offering compliance bookkeeping, basically saying, hey, we're going to keep your QuickBooks files up to date. And that's all we marketed. That's all we did. This was before I went back to school and got my degrees. Then as I started to see a little bit more demand, I started to look at things that were adjacent to that. What are things that are adjacent to compliance bookkeeping? Well, payroll. Okay? So we offer payroll services through Intuit QuickBooks. And one of the things that we do as part of our payroll service is to say, we will double check everything and make sure it's going to the taxing authorities the way it should. Okay. So we enter the hours, we make sure it happens. We stay in contact. It's just another way for us to stay in contact with our clients. And then, as time goes on, I started considering adding tax returns. Again, it's adjacent. So I can expand my offerings within my very small business and make it possible for me to now address a wide variety of clients, which is fantastic. And I love it. However, notice I had the bookkeeping dialed in first. Then I reached out to payroll. So then I had bookkeeping and payroll. Now I have 2 streams. Then I reached out to tax. Now I have 3 streams. And now we're starting to add some more services, and we're really, really, really dialing in. So that's multiple streams of income. And I started hiring employees, which means that I don't have to do all of the work personally myself. I still check it, but I don't have to do it all myself. So that is one way to add multiple streams of income. So now I have a bookkeeping stream, a payroll stream, a tax stream, and some others that will be coming online. Another thing you can do is you can add subsidiaries to your businesses. So of all the crazy things that we have recently done, we have recently added a company to our portfolio of companies that doesn't have anything to do with accounting or finance. I already have a thriving bookkeeping company. I have a thriving accounting company. And so we decided to go into an entirely different business. Now, the trick with this is not that it's a bad idea, but if you're trying to have multiple streams of income, there's a few things you want to do. You don't want to be the one that has to do all the work every time. You can only work 16 hours a day if all you do is work and sleep. Okay. 10 to 12 shots if you want to do things like eat meals, have a family. Did I mention having a family, especially if you're a woman? If you're a woman, you're kind of limited to, you might be able to squeeze 8 hours or 10 hours in, especially if your children are in school. But it does, because women in our society still do the bulk of the housework, the bulk of the childcare, the bulk of the running around, the bulk of the caretaking, it does cut into our available working time. So, and I won't address whether that's fair or not. So we go by people talk about having a 50-50 partnership in their relationships. My sweetheart and I, sometimes it's 100 and 0. And sometimes it's 0 and 100. And sometimes it's 50-50. And sometimes it's 80-20 because I have stresses, he has stresses, I have bad days, he has bad days. And so we pick each other up on our bad days. So anyway, sidetrack, squirrel. So he's decided to start a trucking company. And that has nothing to do with anything that I do. And but that does mean that the trucking company is going to produce more income, especially in times when my income is down or his income is down, or he's not able to drive because of some health conditions. So there's a lot of things that you can do. It doesn't have to be related to your core business. Now, once you have your core business up and running, and it is running without a lot of daily attention from you, because as you help more people, your time they want more of your time. And that can be very stressful. I have ADHD, so as soon as I have a lot of people starting I always feel like a mom with 10 kids all pulling on my skirt, you know, all these people needing attention and they need it from me. Um, and I want to help them all, but I have to protect my time so I can protect my mental state because um, I don't need to be that stressed out. So as you become more successful, you start to really protect your time and you start to figure out things that you don't have to be doing. So if you have a 9 to 5 job and a family, you probably don't want to add door dashing to that because that's another thing that you personally have to do. You're going to want to come up with something you can sell that's a product that now you just have to produce the product and get it out the door. Um, but you want to do this one step at a time. I would have failed miserably if I had jumped in and said, I want to offer bookkeeping, payroll, tax, accounting. I want to offer tax. If I tried to do this all at once, I would have melted down. So my advice is to take one piece of your business, your core business, and really, really, really dial that in as if your life depends on it. Once that's dialed in and you don't need to be paying as much personal attention to that, that's when you start moving on to the next one. Growing too fast can hurt your business just as much as growing too slowly. And we see that a lot in corporate America, where there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions. Um, that was a big deal in the 60s. It was a big deal in the 80s. That was what the movie Wall Street was about, was M&As, what Pretty Woman was about in the 90s. Richard Gere's character was doing M&As, mergers and acquisitions. And that's great. I love doing mergers and acquisitions. But you want to get all of your processes and procedures in line first for your core business and then move on. I'm reminded of a line I heard once in the TV show MASH when Charles Winchester was saying he was brand new to the MASH unit and he said he was in surgery and he said, I do one thing, I do it very well, and then I move on. Doesn't really work if you're doing meatball surgery trying to keep people alive. But if you are growing your business, that's what you want to do. Do one thing, start your core business, get it up and running. Make sure you understand it backwards and forwards. Get it to the point that you don't have to be the one paying that much attention to it. You still have to pay attention to it. There's no such thing as truly passive income, but you can set it to where maybe you only have to pay attention to it an hour a day. Maybe you only have to pay attention to it if something goes wrong. Like I said, most of my personal time now is not spent doing client work, although I do still do some of that because I like to know what's going on with all of my clients. It is spent managing, leading my people, making sure the work is done right, training, and doing things like that so that as a company, we can serve more people and help them with their businesses. I have a limit to how many I can personally serve. And I have a limit to, we're all bounded by these hard stops of 24 hours in a day. So for example, I tell people all the time, we have a hard stop at 5 Mountain Time. And as we grow and we start serving more people from coast to coast, and I have clients on both coasts, then we'll start expanding our hours, but we'll still have a hard stop because it will be 9 to 5 for that time zone. So yeah, don't go out just throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks. Select your business, go all in, and when you don't have to be the one Because back up. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It is for a select few who have the temperament to be able to do it. It's a stressful, risky proposition. Right? That's what a lot of people who've never owned a business don't understand. You're working with money that is kind of yours, but kind of not, which we'll talk about in a different video. And you're putting yourself at risk as an entrepreneur. You don't have, I don't have a major company backing me up. I'm not part of a franchise. This is my business, my brainchild, everything. And so the person who has funds at risk isn't a mysterious Big Four company. I have no affiliation with any of those. It is me. The person who, my credit's at risk, my reputation, my personal reputation's at risk. I'm the one that's taking all the risks. And so it also means that I'm spending twice as much time on the business than any of my staff members because it's my business. And it means that I know more about it. It means this is what I study. This is what I live and breathe. Whereas my employees, they come in, they work their hours and they go home, or they go into their home office and they work their hours and they leave. And they don't have to worry about every little things possibly going wrong. So that's really how you start multiple streams of business. You start with one stream, dial that in. And when it is producing cash flow the way you want it to, then you start another stream. And by the time you have done this 2 or 3 times, you will be able to have these multiple streams of income that are going to provide, so that if one part of your business has some challenges, you will have other streams of income to come in. They don't have to be related, but you do have to do them one at a time. Get them to the point you want them to be at. Think about this before you even start. What is your entry plan? What is your ongoing plan? What is your strategic plan? What's your exit plan? Okay, so this is some thoughts of the day, and I am looking forward to talking to you.